Happy Memorial Day, everyone. Story time. When I came into the world, my dad was not around, but my mom took care of me and my sister and my brothers, and we used to live in LA. And that was in the 80s. But when I turned 6 years old, all the druggies used to come around. And back then, people was hard on drugs. But everybody knew each other in the apartment where we lived. You know, and me and my niece, we grew up together. And I went to South Park Elementary School at the time. And my mother raised us over there in LA. And it was my mom, me, and my two sisters and brother and my niece. Because I was the firstborn out of the last of the child of my mom. And my niece, she was born in the 80s, and so was I. So when I turned 6 years old, drugs used to come around. And people was hard at drugs at the time. So one day, this lady daughter moved into the apartment complex, and her mom was hard on drugs. And she had a son, her and her husband. They were living next door, and of course my mom knew them. So she used to come around in her little truck, little camper truck or whatever, and then get out the car and go knocks at her daughter's door, and everybody runs into the house. That's just how serious it was. And I could never understand if sometimes she just come out of blue and she would come over there and knock on her daughter's door, and she was high as day on drugs. That's how serious it was back then. So, and then a year later came another druggie driving a red Cadillac. Boy, was he knocking at my mother's door. And my mother would tell him to go away if I call the police on you, you man. So one day, one of my sister friends that went to high school with him, she was going out with him. And he was a druggie, which we did not know. And one day she was on the way home from school and got raped by the same druggie that was knocking at my mother's door. And that's what I mean by the druggie used to come around. And there was various problems. Seriously, they tried to snatch up kids. There was, when we grew up, where we lived was the good and the bad. But I tell you, but my mama raised me well. I went to 93rd Street School. I went to South Park Elementary. I went to B. Williams Elementary School. When I was coming up, I went to Head Start Blue Room School. I went to Green Meadows. My high school years, I went to HIS. I went to Hawthorne Intermediate. I went to Bud Carson. So basically, once I went to Bud Carson, we was out of the LA district because we had moved over to Hawthorne in 1992. So we moved from LA then. So when I was coming up, my mom was always protective about me. And I thank God for that, because I'm the baby of the family. She raised me so well that I can understand I was mature for my age. A lot of things that she was telling me, I started understanding and started being open-minded about certain things. And I try to keep thinking about that as I get older and older and older. But like I said, the drug used to come around when we stayed in LA, and that was bad. And thank God my mother was protected by me because I had a godmama. Her name was Anita. And she used to come around and give me some time, and I used to go and camp out and stay with her during the weekend. And then I had an aunt named Rhodey. And so they all knew my mom, and some of them mostly went to school with my sisters and brothers. Yeah. And so we all knew one another. Everybody was just like a family. And then I had a cousin live just around the corner down the street. And she used to go to church with us every Saturday morning. My mother made sure we was in church. But like I said, when everybody went their separate ways, we all started becoming the goodbye by Christianity. We started going to Christian churches. And I'll tell you, then we had one day when I was staying in LA, this guy was driving around in a Cadillac. And I don't know if he was high or what, but he didn't wear no pants. He was just driving around with no pants, not on, no drawers, no nothing. He was just driving around. And my sister would holler, "Y'all come in the house." And everybody started laughing and stuff at him because he was just driving in the lot, but nothing. Like I said, the druggies used to come around. And then we had this one lady used to walk down the street. They call her Fat Lulu. I don't know if she was high, if she was just getting over drugs or recovering or what. And every time they see Fat Lulu, somebody would be messing with Fat Lulu. And she was just minding her own business, walking down the street. I guess one day Fat Lulu did something that caused everybody attention. I don't know. But they show was picking with Fat Lulu. She used to walk up and down the street every day. And you won't see Fat Lulu until so many years, and years later she comes up again. It's called her Fat Little. Okay. I don't know if she was high or what. And people used to laugh at her, make fun of her. And then we had this lady who was a bag lady pushing carts with cans and bags. And they used to call her bag lady. You never know what people have a chance that they have been through life. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Then we had this lady used to live downstairs. Her and her daughter, this lady named Etta used to live with her daughter. And I guess her daughter got high, got drunk or something. And then one day, next thing you know, we hear the ambulance come to get her because she was abused and neglected by her daughter. And her name was Edna. Etta was just the sweetest lady you ever know. You could say hi to her and stuff, but her daughter was drunk. But then she still ended up staying with her daughter because she didn't have no other choice. And then there used to be people where they used to cause problems in the complex where we lived. Then they had some of the sweetest people that, like I said, where we lived was good and was the bad. But as soon as the druggies come around, everybody's running indoors. That's just how bad it was. But like I said, thank God to my mom, she was protected by me. Yes, Lord. And then one day, we had this lady live downstairs from us, and she had a adopted daughter, and she had a son and another daughter, and so on. And one day she did something to her son, abused something she did to him, and the child services came out. Yeah. But I guess she had got her life together after that. She got it cleaned up and everything. But I never heard from all those people ever again. So, with the time who was just there at the time, were there when we was living in an apartment complex. Did nobody keep up in touch with nobody? But most of the people that we do, we kept in touch with them, and now no longer contact with them. But due to all the worst days of the time was when the druggies came around. And then we had this one guy who used to come around and just beat on people's door and be knocking windows out and busting people car windows. And I mean, but like I said, where I used to live was good and the bad. But when we moved off from over there in '92 into Hawthorne, I lived in the cut. I lived on Rosecrans and Cornbloom. I was living in this apartment, 2 bedroom. My mom just had moved to. She was a CNA nurse, and my sister had found that place for her so that she can get out from where we was living in LA. And that was the best time of my life because one year I was going to school and I was going to school on track. You know, like back in the days, they have track where you go to school for like 4 months, and then you're off for a month, and then go back. So one day it was raining so hard, and they called like the El Nino storm. But my mom's first apartment when we moved to Hawthorne got flooded, and at the time the El Nino storm was coming, everybody was able to get food stamps. Then emergency, whatever that was, they had the emergency food stamps out at the time. And my sisters lived right around the corner from us to come get my mother. They used to go grocery shopping because she lived in Hawthorne during the time. So me and my niece and stuff, we were still going to school and stuff, on track and off track. So, we had a good time when we first moved there. There was no druggies coming around then when I was living in that apartment complex because it was more secure. So, like I said, and then my sister used to come around to basically the time that my mom first moved because she helped her. Then one of my other sisters finally moved from 110th to around the corner from where we lived in Hawthorne and had moved into an apartment complex with pool and everything. And her daughter, she had just had one daughter, and then she had a son later. And so my mom used to help her. She used to come around and just spend the night. We only lived in 2 bedrooms because it was me, my mom, and my brother. And one of my sisters had a place around the corner, moved off 110th. The other one lived on 132nd in Hawthorne. And we basically was like a family then until everybody scattered out. And then my mom got sick with dementia and bed rest and everything. Then we still scatter out because I live in Atlanta and I have a sister live in Fontana. Then my other sister live in Gardena is taking care of her with my brother and her daughter. And her daughter recently, a couple of years ago, just had a child and got married back in February of 2016. And so that's just how things go most of the time. But I still keep in contact with my sister living in Fontana. And my brother-in-law had been married for 13 years. They got married uh, May 1992. And they went on to Vegas and got married in Vegas Chapel. And we were so happy when we first heard that they got married. And so I remember at the time when I first started Luzinger High School, I didn't know nobody. But I got to tell you, when the kids I went to school, it was old school. I mean, it was just one of those days where it was just it was the top of the line when I was going to school. And ain't hard it is now to what these kids going through in high school wasn't hard then. But they used to have the food trucks. They used to have a cafeteria open on the backside, and then on the inside they used to have the food trucks. And I used to buy them chili chunker burritos all the time. Then sometimes they used to have like the little sandwich pack where you buy the sandwich, the milk and the juice. Excuse me. And then I remember also inside the cafeteria, they had every Friday they had pizza, and you could pick any option of what you want for lunch. And so me and my friends, we were just like this. We were just so tight. And most of them they grew up, and most of them we all scattered out too. Most of them moved out of state, or most of them somewhere behind bars. But I tell you, time fly. Mm, mm, mm. And at the time when we were staying in Hawthorne, I got to know a lot of new faces and things around. I was had this girls live down the hall from me, and got raped going to a Halloween party with one of the ladies' kids. Her and her mom babysit, and some old buff armed guy came in there and just put her in the car and just raped her. And she was screaming and hollering and messed her up. And they think she could never ever have kids ever. But I haven't seen them since they moved off from that complex, off from over there in Hawthorne. And then her mom passed away from eating spicy foods with high blood pressure. And my mom went down to see what she could do. She was already pronounced dead at the scene. And the paramedics and stuff came and got her. So I never forgot about that. That was one sad. But like I said, where I used to live in LA was good and the bad until we moved off from over there to Hawthorne. And if you like what you heard, like and subscribe and push the button up for thumbs up. All right. Have a nice day, you guys. Love you.